UK cash ISAs completely suck in the current market climate. In this video, I'm going to explain 5 reasons why I think they are so bad they should be renamed cash ILAs, individual losers accounts. My name is Jay Barrett. I'm a former investment banker, bond trader and now entrepreneur, and I'm here to help you improve your business and financial game. So to understand why cash ISAs suck so badly, it helps to first define what they are. If you already know this, skip to the next section. Taking the example of a simple easy access savings account paying, let's say, a 1% rate. If you've got Sarah here who wants to deposit £10,000, that means on the 1% she'd earn £100 interest in a year approximately. Now, the problem is HMRC will see that £100 interest income and want to tax Sarah on that. And if we assume she's a higher rate taxpayer at 45%, that means they'll take £45, meaning she'd only be left from the 100 with £55 left over. Whereas if instead Sarah put the same 10,000 into a cash ISA, and let's assume it's the same 1% rate, HMRC can't tax any interest income in here, which obviously be the same £100 on the 1%, because anything inside here is protected against tax, meaning that HMRC will obviously deduct zero, so Sarah will be left with the full £100. And that's the basic difference between the two. Currently, there is a maximum limit of £20,000 that you can deposit into any ISA during 1 year. This limit also accumulates. So if we jump into this table, if you maxed out your limit, let's say over the last 5 years, you'd be able to build up a total £100,000 sitting in that protected tax ISA wrapper. That £20,000 maximum limit, you can actually allocate your money into multiple different ISAs, such as a cash ISA, stocks and shares, help to buy, or lifetime ISA, as long as you stay within the £20,000 in total. Now, delving deeper into cash ISAs, there's multiple subtypes of those, like fixed rate, notice, regular, or just instant access. And these are essentially the same as savings accounts. They're just inside that tax wrapper. Lastly, completely separate to ISAs, in 2016, the government introduced the personal savings allowance. This means any money you'd have in, say, a normal easy access savings account, not an ISA, you can earn quite a large amount of interest without paying any tax whatsoever. This brings me on to my first reason why cash ISAs suck. Now we understand how cash ISAs work, it starts to become more obvious why they're pretty much useless for the majority of people. The first issue is that personal savings allowance. It's estimated that 95% of people will gain no benefit from that tax wrapper protected status because they can just hold money in a normal savings account, earn the interest using their personal savings allowance, and they don't need to use a cash ISA. And I'll show that with an example here. If you jump onto the government website, you can see the different levels of personal savings allowance depending on what your income tax rate is. So for example, a 20% income tax payer could earn up to £1,000 interest with paying no tax, just holding the money in a normal savings account. And to put that into context, if you, say, used an easy access account paying 1%, you'd have to deposit £100,000 to actually use up that £1,000 maximum interest you can earn before being taxed. So there's not really any need to then put even more money in a cash ISA on top of that. The next issue is the cash rule. It's a generally accepted rule of thumb that you only need about 3 to 6 months worth of cash to cover any emergencies like rent, food, bills, and so on. This is just enough to keep you going so you can find some employment in that time and avoid a problem. But you don't really need much more than that in cash because there are much better places to put your money. Taking the example of the average UK income of £2,000, 6 months worth of that is £12,000. Now, if you think about the personal tax allowance, you can deposit up to £100,000 in a normal savings account, earning that 1%, so £1,000 interest, completely tax-free. Now, £100,000 is far, far more than the maximum £12,000 or so you need to cover those emergencies. So if you've already got that in a regular savings account, you don't even come close to the maximum amount you can put in there. So it basically makes using a cash ISA on top of that completely redundant. The next big problem is inflation. Now, if we look at the Office for National Statistics, the latest report from April shows that Consumer Prices Index, that's a measure of inflation, rose by 9% in the 12 months to April, up from 7% in March. And historically, this is the highest level inflation has been in the UK for over 40 years. Now, psychologically, with a cash ISA, it's tempting just to focus on protecting that interest behind that tax wrapper. But this becomes rather academic if the interest you're earning is only 1 or 1.5%, but your cash has been eroded by inflation at a negative 9%. So this further reinforces the cash rule, why you shouldn't really keep too much money just in cash. The fourth issue with cash ISAs is that there are simply better places to put your money earning higher returns, such as premium bonds or stocks and shares ISAs or peer-to-peer lending ISAs. There may also be other things you can do in your wider investment strategy, such as possibly paying down your mortgage, putting more into your pension, or even looking at ETFs and crypto. And this links into the fifth reason, which is wasting your overall ISA allowance. So for example, if you put £5,000 into a cash ISA, that means you've only got £15,000 left out of your total £20,000 annual allowance you could put into, say, a stocks and shares ISA, earning much better returns. They say there's always an exception to the rule, and there could be edge cases where a cash ISA might be of some temporary use. For example, if you're just a baller and you're in that higher rate income tax bracket of 45%, then your personal savings allowance is zero. So in this situation, a cash ISA could be possibly useful for those people, at least perhaps on a temporary basis, before they may reallocate that money to higher yielding savings and investments. Another scenario could be if someone just receives a large one-off cash influx, such as an inheritance or possibly some sort of cash prize. That might mean during that annual period they get taken over the personal allowance, and any money above and beyond that they could temporarily park in a cash ISA, although even then they'd be limited to that £20,000 limit in that year. For those few exceptions, if you are looking for the best cash ISA currently available, a good place to start is Money Saving Expert. You can browse through their tables and they give you a good overview of the best paying interest deals. Another good place is Compare the Market. Now, based on what I've found in June 22, I think the best deals are either Marcus, which actually their cash ISA is pretty similar to their online saver, paying that 1.15%. Check out my review of the best easy access savings accounts for a deep dive into that one over there. Another deal I found recently is this Stepping Stone ISA from Suffolk Building Society, and they're actually offering an even better 1.3%. So that's actually not bad for a cash ISA. And if you're looking for other options, have a good browse through. There's plenty of other similar deals available, and these change all the time. Now that covers cash ISAs. If you've gotten value out of this video and you'd like to stay up to date with my latest banking, saving and investment tips, then smash that subscribe button. Also drop me a like and ask away any questions in the comments. I'd really appreciate it if you support me while I'm growing the channel. In the meantime, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.